Good morning, everyone. Super happy to see you all here. My name is Egita Poljanska, and I will be your stage host for the first half of the day. As you know, you are here at the Muse stage. And the Muse stage, I think the name speaks for itself. It's the stage where to get inspired, where to get supported, and everything will be about the startups, about the support. You will hear a lot of talks and discussions about, we will start with the fundamentals, about the funding, about different difficult times. Then we will move to the climate tech, to the robotics, artificial intelligence, and we'll finish up with the health and your, let's say, mental support as well for the founders. And we start at the fundamentals. So we will start at the support for the startups at the early stage and in the, let's say, the first parts of the journey. And we will have a discussion about the accelerator value proposition. So you know there are a lot of accelerators. It's not a new thing. They have been around for years, but the things are changing. So how startups still can find the best support, how investors are looking at the accelerators, and how to navigate part of it, and is anything changing? With that, I would like to invite to the stage Marija Rucevska, founding partner of Helve, to introduce her panel and to lead the discussion. Welcome and enjoy the panel.
Hi. Hi, hello. It's great to be here today at TechChill. It's my, I think, 8th year for sure. We've grown a lot. Super excited to also host this session. So let's maybe screen the room a bit. Who do we have here? How many of you are startup teams or founders or working at a startup? Okay, good. So you found the right room, so that's already a success. How many of you are raising funding at the moment? Okay, quite a few as well. Thinking about raising funding in the next year. Okay. All right, so let's uncover everything what Egita already kind of mentioned a bit. And I want to welcome my panelists on stage. James from Printify, Donatas from Practica Capital, and Cristobal from Startup Wise Guys. Round of applause. Welcome. Hey, let's give it up yet again. I don't like this kind of quiet thing. It's not me. Okay, welcome. How are you feeling, guys? All good?
Fantastic.
How has your morning started?
Great. Good morning.
Fantastic. Thank you for having us.
Great. Day 0 has been survived. Now we're ready for day 1 and follow up. All right, but let's talk about accelerators. I think all of us in one form or another have been kind of involved in this concept. But maybe for those who don't know, what is it exactly? Let's start with the basics. So, Cristobal, what is an accelerator? What does an accelerator do?
Well, an accelerator accelerates, right? And I think we have lost sometimes the basic of the proposition. At the end of the day, we need to get startups at the right timing. I believe accelerators should be investing from the beginning, so actually becoming accelerator funds. And then we should be helping the companies grow as fast as possible and get to the stage in which the next round is possible. Obviously, we want to simplify that one. And I think probably one of the big changes in the last years, and we'll talk about it later, is also we're helping them to build the companies. I think we have gone through this extreme focus on the next round, too much more how can we help the company start building a real company and understanding how to do that when they keep growing and scaling.
So maybe then a follow-up question, which I'd love to then probably uncover with the rest of the panelists as well. So when do you think it makes sense to enroll in acceleration program, and when does it not? Like considering the market conditions at the moment.
We'll talk later about choosing the right accelerator, of course, because I think some of them have different focus, but I think you need to be selling already. So I think your product needs to be in a stage, call it MVP, call it real, depends on the vertical, but you need to be selling because we cannot help you accelerate sales if you're not selling. right? So coming when your product is still not there, I don't think it's the right timing, right? Just because you get investment, you're not going to get advantage of the program. So to me, the key thing is, I would say, you need to be selling, and you need to be already out of your market or wanted to get out of your local market. In the Baltics, it's easier because everybody is born out, right? But we're dealing with Ukrainian companies, with Turkish companies, with Italian companies. I think most of the good accelerators, they have this international focus. So you need to be selling, and you need to look at scaling outside of your local market. To me, those two are basically key moments to come to acceleration.
James, what was the reason when you were raising your pre-seed round back in the days? When was it? Like 2000 what? 19, 18?
I think that was 15, 16 when I
Okay.
was in accelerators. So my experience with accelerators has been, Printify was part of 500 startups in San Francisco. So we actually flew over to San Francisco and spent time living in San Francisco and being part of the accelerator. One of the key parts that I remember of being an accelerator is that you are on a very tight budget, and we were living in a startup house together with 30 other people in bunk beds in the same room. That's the part of the life of being at an accelerator. Maybe Cristobal's accelerator is more
Do
fancy
you have
one.
bunk beds, Cristobal?
No, we are a bit more upgrading that, but we try not to be in San Francisco, so you don't need to be in bunk beds. If
Okay,
you're in
it's-
San Francisco,
San
we'll
very
need bunk beds
expensive.
also, probably.
Obviously, need bunk beds. Yes, in Europe it's better conditions.
Yeah. I think Cristobal's point was absolutely correct, that you need to be, ideally, you are selling, you are having traction, and the accelerator would chip in some money so that you can go a bit faster, can extend your runway, and you will meet smart people that can give you valuable advice, and hopefully that advice helps you open up new opportunities. How can you grow faster? Either it's new marketing, acquisition channels, or new sales opportunities, whatever that could be. That's the point of Accelerator, where it can add a lot of value. For us, actually, while we were at Accelerator, we were in a process of rebuilding the platform to transform to a marketplace. And I would say that because we weren't there yet where we would be kind of selling full speed our new product, we didn't get the full value out of Accelerator, as Cristobal was mentioning.
But when you decided to enroll a program, what were kind of the homework? What was the homework that you did? Like, did you like screen various programs? So you ended up enrolling 500 startups. Did you do some homework in terms of like where to go, why US, for example, like, or was it like, okay, they want to give us money?
My story, how I got into the Accelerator, which is probably one of the top accelerators in the world, was that I was in a bar having a beer, and a friend of mine was like, hey, look, there is Ryan from TechCrunch. And being a hustler, I was like, all right, I'm not going to let this opportunity go. So I go up to Ryan, and I gave him my elevator pitch, how Printify is like gaining traction and it's going to be amazing in the future. So Ryan listens to my pitch. He's like, I don't know you, a stranger, but this sounds pretty cool. I'm not with TechCrunch anymore. I'm with a company, 500 startups. It's an accelerator. Why don't you come tomorrow and have a conversation with us? I had no clue at the time what's 500 startups, but I was like, sounds amazing. Let's do it. And so that was my fast track. I think the point is that as a startup founder, you need to hustle, especially in the early days, and you lose 100% of the opportunities you don't take. So better give it a chance.
Yeah, you probably can kind of, start gearing up whether or not you want to take this acceleration kind of journey. But at the end of the day, it's all about serendipity in some sense. So Donatas, perhaps you can a bit uncover a VC perspective in terms of with how many accelerator teams do you really work then afterwards, and with those that you have done this work with afterwards. What do you usually expect from them after graduating the programs? Like,
that's a good question, and probably I'm going to start with that. As a VC, I have love and hate relationship with accelerators, right? And sometimes I really like it, sometimes I really hate it, and I'm going to explain why. Because what we discuss here is success cases. Cristobal is running fantastic accelerator. He knows what he's doing, right? He knows what teams he can help, and he always brings me the best teams. That's fantastic, right? And James also been in a great accelerator, which really accelerated them when they needed. But in my opinion, 80% of acceleration programs or incubators around, they try to create your company with you, help you to overcome some issues you should overcome yourself. They come into your life as a company in the wrong period of time, not knowing what to help you with. And that brings you to the situation when you have a company and a founder who thinks, that he has a great startup just because he went through some kind of accelerator, but it doesn't solve any issues, any questions. It just happened, right? So this is, I think, a waste of time. Really, just waste of time. And yes, if we have a specific accelerator who is saying, guys, I'm going to help you to accelerate your sales, and you're already selling, and we're going to go from 5K MRR to 20 KMRR. We're going to help you to answer main questions about your market fit in specific geographies or markets or whatever. That's fantastic. I love it. It's great, If Accelerator says that, we're going to help you to, to put your accounting in place, we're going to work on your KPIs, we're going to work with 100 people, and different kind of specialists, and you're going to get your answers to how to make your business, it's a bullshit. Sorry about that. But this is just not going to work, because you cannot be good for everybody, and to accelerate everyone. So that's why specialized acceleration programs with understanding, with some experience, with already done things in the past is good stuff, and we love it as VCs, because this is a quality stamp. If you know that Startup Wise Guys, the team after the Startup Wise Guys, right, they're going to know how to pitch at least. They're going to know what questions I want to ask them, and we are ready with answers. I know that we already understand that selling outside your own market is important. That's great. That saves me a time. That saves my initial meeting with the companies, right? It saves a lot of energy and time. If I'm looking into some other accelerators, right, I expect them to be prepared better to answer my questions, but not to know the essence. So that's my view into that, right? And maybe I'm, a bit too harsh. It's always better to have more companies, people helping each other, accelerating things. But if you are going VC path, if you really consider yourself an innovative company which do something 10 times better than all of the rest, and you want to accelerate that, you have to choose the right partner, and it should work for you. Not just, I'm going to go to Accelerator just because it's going to help me to do something. The goal should be there.
Yeah, but what is the average, percentage of the teams that you guys then invest in that come out of the accelerators?
I looked into the data when we were preparing for this panel. So we done more in the past, especially 2018, 2017, we've done more. So I would say probably 25% of companies we invested been through acceleration at one point of time. Or some kind of programs. Right now, we do a bit less.
So what do you think has changed? And also then maybe Cristobal can follow up on that. Is it Europe? Is it Baltic accelerators versus Europe accelerators versus US?
I think a lot of things change, right? But most important that it is clear in the world of accelerators in Europe who is who right now, right? You cannot call yourself accelerator and be an equal quality of the guys who done that. So, we know who is our partners. We are happy to work with them on very early stages, and look into the teams very early to help them to choose and things like that. And that gives value. And we try to work less with people we just don't know. So that's probably the answer to that. And also the reality is that now the value chain is very clear, especially in the Baltics, right? So we in Practica, we do invest in pre-seed and seed and sometimes later stage, but then we see a really early stage company. I'm okay to say for guys, you need to go to Accelerator. These are the top guys here in the region. Please go there, finish the program, and we'll talk afterwards. Right? We'll see how it goes. So this is it's very clear what steps you should take. It's the knowledge is here, right? And models is clear and experience is here. So this is amazing time to be an entrepreneur. And guys, you know, everyone here, the difference between 2012, 15, and now is you know, and you can judge what to choose, right? And if you have ability, of course, to go to the United States, you know, or you've been chosen to Y Combinator is great, but it's not necessarily means that is better than Sarah Wise guys in Estonia to accelerate your sales. The thing is clear, and you have data to choose on, but choosing right is very important.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think what it has changed a lot is that we have many more second times teams. I don't call it founders because I think what we are good at is basically teams who have worked for the first time together. Sometimes it's actually founders that have worked before in startups, but they come to the accelerator and they form as a team. Again, they start building the company, right? What is different is that now Donatas will mean a team that is doing the second startup together or the third startup together. It's very rare that those guys will come to an accelerator. They might even be invested by our fund because they still like our brand in the cap table, but they're not looking at the program the same way, right? I think also the verticalization. So I think most of us are starting to before it was B2B SaaS, but now B2B SaaS is so large. They are looking at very different verticals, right? So I think the level of maturity in the market has changed. And also, I think we understand also about which are the VCs we also like to work with, right? And we also try not to waste time of the VCs because many founders are disillusional. Oh, I want to talk to this USA guy. Yeah, but you're in seed. Oh, but I need to build the relationship. Yeah, but not 5 years before you have to do it, you know? So I think it's also about putting the expectations right in the right place, and that's our job also to try to do it. Then, of course, it's the founder decision to listen or not, because it's their company, not ours, right? So, but I think the maturity in the market has changed. And also, by the way, the ticket level, we're investing 100 and 150,000 euros. So it's almost a pre-seed or large angel round. In the past, it was 20,000 euros. So I think the level of the ticket investment we put together is also changing the profile of when or if we actually syndicate, and suddenly 3 angels come with a very early HBC, $250,000, because we're looking also at run rate. You cannot take anymore a team in this current market that after the acceleration is death with your money. They need to have 12 months, 15 months, because we know the market is harder. Even if you saw growth, they're going to take more time. So we're trying to do larger rounds with somebody else. So we give enough time to the teams to really accelerate and have enough time to develop a relationship with the next stage because they take longer. It's the current market economics that we have.
So has the interest changed in terms of the applications for acceleration in the past few years? Do you see that it's becoming maybe harder to attract talent, and they chose to go and raise a regular pre-seed?
Good companies are always hard to get. They never apply the first day, right? So I think this disillusional number of, we have 5,000 applications. I can get 20,000 applications if you want. Yeah, 19,999 are shit, right? So that doesn't prove anything. I think hard teams are hard to get. And I think we have recognized that all the good accelerators, and we fight for those teams. We find them in a bar, hustling, and we put them next day to talk to us. We don't say, my next application cycle is in 4 months, please apply. That doesn't work like this, right? Of course, I think so the flow of applications has actually increased, but the companies we seek from the market has dramatically. We are way more proactive, way more outbound, way more going for the good teams, and way more developing relationship with ex-founders, VCs. Say, hey, we have this team, it's a good team for you. So I think those recommendations are more and more common, and that's when the founders doubt even less. Hey, if this is a good accelerator and they want us to go there, if there is a good fit, they come, right? So I think the whole sourcing model of the top-tier accelerator has changed. It's nothing to do with what it was 5 years ago.
I'm curious, Cristobal, actually, about a question for people who might consider applying at an accelerator. I remember in the past I had a dinner with some folks from Y Combinator, the CMO and management, and discussed also the same topic with 500 startups and what they expressed was that the majority of their of the companies that they accept in the accelerator come from personal referrals, to a large degree from referrals from companies who have been part of the accelerator and they are recommending somebody. I was surprised because 2,000 or 20,000 applications seems like a huge number. Do you see similar statistics for your accelerator?
I would say in the countries that we're very present, yes. So you look at the Baltics, if you look at Italy, if you look at now Spain less, but Ukraine, Turkey, I would say the statistic is very similar, right? But of course, we are out there looking for the hidden gems, right? So, the guys from Formalu coming from Iran in 2020 in the middle of COVID, nobody knew who those guys are. Today they have done a Series A with Change Ventures and other funds, right? So I would say that we need to be still scrapping those companies in the application process online because you find people you will never expect to find. But I would say, yes, from the markets that you have a strong presence and relationships, I would say a good 50% comes from some kind of recommendation, which skips part of the process. I don't think that means that they make it. That means that you skip the first analysis and you put a straight an MD, hey, what do you think about this team? So I think it accelerates the process. Of course, if we are negative, we still say, but they're coming recommended. Let's have an extra talk because maybe we are missing something that somebody else has seen, right?
So what is the deal these days? Like the average accelerator deal? How much equity? What's the money chunk?
As an accelerator here, I take it first.
Average.
I think there is two philosophies. You can take the TechStars and Y Combinator. It's a fixed deal. You know what it is. That's it. You like it or you don't.
But do they still, like TechStars still have the same model they did like back in 2016?
Yes, with more money.
Nothing has changed.
They put more money. I think it's 125 for 7% convertible and then an extension for a convertible with market value.
But do you feel like they can still be competitive with this deal?
I tell all my startups not to go there. I was with the TechStars managing director in Paris. I told her, hey, every startup that asks me, I say, don't go, because I don't think the deal is worth it after they have been invested by us, right? But at the same time, I say, if you call me and want references, of course, if the startup wants to go to you, I'm not going to veto it at all, right? But I don't think it's a good deal. Again, if you're going to the US and you're going to a particular point, okay, then maybe the sacrifice of the equity makes sense because you don't know anybody in that market. But going from us to TechStar Paris or Berlin, 0 sense. And I want to say, on us, we negotiate every deal. Because you cannot give the same valuation to a company with 20K MRR with a company with 2K MRR. It's unfair for the company, it's unfair for you as a fund, and you lose great opportunities. So to me, it's like, I don't mind dedicating way more time, but we simplify. Of course, we want a position between 2 and 8%. Depending on how good the company is, and sometimes I have to put more money to gain that position. But we negotiate every single deal. The only thing is we invest 100K, and we take 30K for the program. Valuations, convertible, caps, equity, safe, we will negotiate. We don't mind. We are personalized. No matter how many status investments we make, we are a personalized investor. We go deal by deal with them, and I think that's also the most of our philosophy.
I think it's like for you guys at Printify, it probably made the most sense in the world back in the days and enrolled 500 startups. Just considering that you are you went straight for the US market. Perhaps for those teams who are enrolling a Baltic accelerator or looking at some of the programs that we have in Europe, especially the ones that have kind of just now been formed. Would you suggest them to enroll these programs or no?
To enroll in a Baltic or a US program?
Like a regional accelerator. Does it make sense?
All right, let me start from the reason why we enrolled was because 7-8 years ago, the tech scene in especially in Latvia was not really developed. There was not Change Ventures or Practica Capital. There was just nobody to pitch your startup idea to. So we felt the need that if we want to raise money, that we need to go outside of Latvia, and it was a unique opportunity. And since from day one we knew that that's our target market, it made a lot of sense. And I think that's if you are targeting particular market like United States, then there are certain advantages of being in the US, especially I think if you are in a B2B segment with a strong sales aspect that can be very helpful to go to that market. If that's not the case, then I think Baltic Accelerator definitely can do the job, and Cristobal is running one of the best in the, accelerators, probably the best or the only one, I don't know.
They're already, I think, like a European player at this point. But we have, and I think we will definitely see in the market, in the local market, in the Baltics, like new teams probably will form accelerators, but how to kind of differentiate themselves from what we already have in the market. You mentioned yourself that there is a great saturation at the moment. There's a lot of capital available. So my question is then maybe to all of you. How can an accelerator differentiate themselves if they gotta be formed here? Because there's always these kind of government tenders and mandates that you gotta do an accelerator. Are we still in that kind of level that we really have to do it, or is it like we are forced to do it?
I could take this question, right? And this is the hate part of relationship with accelerators. I believe right now in the Baltics, to form a new accelerator, just on the idea that this is accelerator with government money, it's just not going to fly, right? It's not going to yield results as what we want. To form an accelerator, you have to have experience, operational experience, to be able to help these companies, first of all, right? What that means, if James would be doing accelerator right now, I would vote for that, right? Because he knows, he has experience. But this is very rarely that you're going to turn your career into accelerating other companies right now, right? So this is the thing. If to build new or make new accelerator, the idea should be super strong and a team behind it should know what they do. So I would see a lot of niches, honestly, right? Deep tech, biotech, you name it. You can look into different categories. That's why you guys, you do the tracks, and that makes a lot of sense. But you're already doing that for what, 10 years, right? We just celebrated 10 years of your 11. So that's
getting older.
Exactly. So imagine right now the new guys with 2 years experience of operations bringing advice for startup companies. How, as a VC, I'm going to look into that. How I'm going to look into this company which has on a cap table accelerator XYZ, whatever is in the name, which I know that the value is almost close to zero, right? I just no.
But then again, yes, James, go ahead. You wanted to add it?
Just adding to the point raised here, I wouldn't go to Accelerator to solve your problems. I don't think that's where that's the place where accelerators can help. You know your problems best, and I think you are in the best position to solve them. Yes, advice can help, but end of the day, it will be you who need to solve those problems. In my experience, where Accelerator was helpful the most was to with specific preparation of specific things like pitching. We really spent a lot of time preparing for pitches, like good 1/3, I would say, of the accelerator time went into regular sessions of how to pitch, how to be able to more clearly, crisply, impressively tell your story. And that's a very, very important part for you being a founder and managing the company. That was one important part in my experience. The second important part was that it provides this stamp of approval that you have met some minimum quality level to get into Accelerator. So when you go to a VC, it's like, all right, this is not one of the 20,000 applications. This is one of the selected very few. And why not having a conversation with that company? And where Accelerator, also in my experience, was very helpful was to open those doors to these VCs, that if they see that there is a fit, then they make the introduction. Then, of course, it's up to you to go the pitch and tell your clear, crisp, impressive story, but they can help with opening the door. So that's where I see you can get the biggest value going to an accelerator, and I would recommend doing that for that reason.
Yeah, if I would comment one thing you mentioned, I think a lot of people is going to an accelerator to discover their problems, not even to fix them, right? And good accelerator is not going to take you, because the first thing we ask is, what are your 3 main challenges, and can we help you fixing them? And half of the time say, yeah, I can fix these 3 things, and sometimes, no, I cannot fix that, right? And we are an investor, so why will I take a company in which I cannot be a smart money, right? I think the reason why we go vertical is because offering them a network of contacts in their particular vertical globally and wherever is their country they're going is something that they cannot do themselves probably in many ways. And that's something that we have the volume to do it. And also the relationship with VCs that they might not have access or might shortcut the time to market in that sense. And I agree with James that the very good accelerators give you a brand recognition because we are in the cap table. But it's not an accelerator. It's 10 of them. The rest, I don't think it makes any sense from the brand recognition point of view. That doesn't mean that some of them might not help you or not help you, right? And then also be careful about signaling because many accelerators, because they take government money, they cannot follow on. And in these days, if you cannot follow on, you have a signaling issue. Signaling meaning that if your next previous investors don't want to put more money, the next investor will say, is there a problem? Right? So I think our capacity to at least do our pro rata, so whatever we have in that round out of our percentage, they will call us, guys, you're not investing? What's the problem there, right? Any fund that knows us will call us. It's very strange you don't, because our job is to follow up the winners. So we don't follow up, is that a loser or you run out of money? That's only two basically possible questions, right? And our obligation is to say, well, we have doubts here and there. We cannot lie. We can obviously try to sell our portfolio, but we don't lie to people that we have a relationship over 5, 10 years because I want them to keep investing in my teams for the next 10 years, right? So we say, hey, last time, dude, you sold me this shit, like what's going on, right? So I think this reputation building management and network also can help a lot of the startups actually going there. You need to be able to follow on as a fund, and I think that's also very important. The accelerator fund needs to understand we are a fund and needs to understand their funding game. And 90% of accelerators don't understand the funding game themselves. So how can they coach people on how to do it? I have question marks.
That's good points, but not to be that grim, right, or pessimistic, probably to turn a little bit. If we're going to get new accelerator in Latvia, funded by government right now, right, which the tenders are going on or might be going on, this is a good thing. If we choose the right team to manage that, right? And if they know what they need to go through and what to learn, right? And how to behave, that's what Cristobal said. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. And we should doing that. But we cannot expect that the level of quality of the operation is going to be the same as 5 years ago. It's not enough right now. It's not enough. We just need to upscale our game in this also. Simple as that.
Yeah, and deep tech areas, R&D heavy areas will always welcome governments putting money there one way or another if it's done smartly because they need it. It takes longer. It's not purely the BC game. So if there is a strategic areas for the country or the region and there is not enough money in that stage, the governments are great putting money there. But as Donata says, put it on people who has the right incentives to manage that, right? So I think we need to keep doing that better and better and better, right? And there is sectors that will always need additional money, hardware, heavy R&D, medtech, biotech, because there is so much money to get the product to market that you need very different animals to get to that point and very different ways to put the money at play, right?
All right, our time is quickly coming to an end. So each of you, one piece of advice to founders now looking either for funding or enrolling an acceleration program. Whoever is ready, go. Then it's just like, don't.
No, go for sure. But you need to know to match your problem and stage with acceleration program or company you want to enroll. That's the most important piece of advice I can give. And regarding the deals, 5% is okay, just to have accelerator on the capital, even a bit more, right? What I hate to see is all the strings attached. We can, we can do that and that and that if evaluation is going to be like that and that. So don't have open-ended contracts with accelerators. You just go in, get the value, give them a shares or whatever you agree with, and that's it. So that's 2 advice.
I think that is point on. Be very clear about what do you want to get out of the accelerator and make sure that it matches what accelerator can offer. And don't be shy about giving up a percentage that might feel a bit uncomfortable. As long as it's a clean deal, it can be very, very valuable. But again, make sure that it matches what you are looking for. But if you have a super hot startup that is growing like crazy, then probably you don't need that and just go pitch to the investor straight away.
Yeah, I will say two things. An accelerator is about coaching, right? So please make sure that you like the people in front of you, right? So we are assessing mostly, do we like you? Can we coach you? Please do the same, right? Don't take the money just because you need it. You're going to be working, and we are your first investor. If it goes well, you're going to see us for 10 years, right? So you better like us, right? No, but people just come in and do. And the second one is do your homework. By now in the Baltics, there is so many companies that has passed by our accelerator, by 500, even by Y Combinator. Please reach out, get references. And if you don't have them, ask us for it, no? You need to do your homework. You cannot come and then the recommendations will come, because if you talk to an alumni and you're good, my alumni will say, hey, talk to these guys, they're great. So look for that homework, because it can help you understand, do you want to go there? But secondly, it might actually shortcut your point to the best accelerators, because you have a recommendation.
All right. Thank you so much for joining me today. This was the very first panel of the Muse stage, and stay tuned for the rest of the day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.